Thanks for tuning in to our seller interview series. Up to date, we've got an e-commerce business for sale in the culinary niche. Created in April 2015, this business makes $1,846 per month in net profit, and the listing number for this site is 40573. Now, we do these interviews to give potential buyers more information about both the seller and the sites they're looking to purchase. We hope these insights are helpful for you in making a buying decision. We've got the seller with us today to go through the business and cover everything from niche selection to traffic and monetization. Thanks for coming on, Dave.
Hi, Greg. Pleasure.
So, what is included with the actual sale of this business, obviously, is the domain, the DNS, a CrateJoy account, a Shopify account, some WordPress files and content. But you also are including the social media profiles that you have and a free ebook lead generation tool for your website. So, sound all correct?
Yeah, that's about right, yeah.
Excellent. So to introduce the audience to yourself a little bit, can you tell us a little bit about your background? Have you ran other online businesses before? Is this your first time? What is your background?
Okay, so yeah, I'd run a couple of different businesses, which were actually physical business rather than online before I started this. This was actually my first kind of venture into online e-commerce. So it's kind of a good point for me to to educate myself about online marketing and building social media accounts and effective social growth. So, I mean, as a result of that, what's included is sort of some really mature social accounts, some really good lead generation tools, which are all part of the sale, obviously, a blog, also all the supplier relationships as well, which are really important, and a Facebook members area, which is really good for customer retention, which has basically got a whole community sat there ready and willing to kind of buy more. We've also got the Shopify store where we sell off surplus stock and additional kind of special items, which is good for kind of targeting back at that members only community. So, I mean, there's tons of stuff in there, really, lots to play with.
Very cool. So how did you come up with the idea for this business specifically? Obviously, don't give away the niche, but was there something about this niche that just really struck home for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like an inkling idea from a conversation kind of about a year before I started it. I mean, again, without kind of mentioning the niche, it's a pretty kind of high growth thing at the moment with the products that we feature. It's really exciting. It's something that people get really passionate about, and it's kind of like the idea behind it is that we present the products, they're desirable collectible items at the same time as just being, rather than just being a box of kind of like just regular grocery products each month. So there really is, I mean, as a result of that, it means that when we do get members on board, they're really loyal. We've got a really high retention rate, and it's really easy to keep selling to them and for them to kind of tell a friend and get excited about.
Yeah, it's definitely an intriguing niche for sure. So for someone that doesn't know anything about e-commerce and they're looking at this site, could you briefly explain how this business makes money?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, this is a subscription. This is another thing worth mentioning. It's a subscription-based website. So basically, people sign up and then they automatically rebill every month. So that takes a lot of the pressure off kind of marketing and customer acquisition. So they automatically rebill and they get a box of tailored products each month, which we kind of curate. So the way it makes money is people sign up, and until they unsubscribe, then they keep rebilling, and we keep just curating a new box each month and sending it to them. So this is a really, really high growth industry, well, a high growth sector of e-commerce subscription itself. Obviously, we're in the UK and it's really starting to gain some traction now. We've got a lot of subscribers all over the world, in fact, a lot in the States, as far as Japan, all over Europe, Africa as well, in fact, and in the Middle East, where there's a real big taste for what we do.
So you did mention that this is a high growth area that you're in. So why are you selling the business? Why not just keep it and keep growing it?
Well, from what I learned setting up this business, I actually got into business with somebody else, and we started another similar thing in a different niche. But it's actually something which has gained a bit more traction, which I would like to take the money from this project and from the sale of this project and put into and concentrate more of my time on.
Okay, cool. So you were already planning to use the capital from the sale of this business to kind of inject into this new business you're working on.
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool. So moving into site history, when you first built this e-commerce store, could you describe like the trajectory of this business? Like what were the first few weeks or months like? Was it pretty smooth sailing, or did you guys run into some rocks, potholes along the way?
Yeah, so it started out actually as a Kickstarter project to sort of test the ground and see if we did have the audience that we thought. So, and then from there we started with quite a low value product. And then we found that as we went along, after the first few months, that our existing members wanted more each month. and that we could actually take a better margin and have more to kind of spend on marketing and basically take more of a profit from actually producing a bigger box. So back in March this year, we introduced a bigger box, so it's a premium version. And what we've done, we've actually restructured the way things are. So we've got the original box, which is kind of like now presented as a taster version, which contains just a smaller selection of the new bigger box, which now contains six to eight premium products, and it's at a much higher premium price. Members are absolutely lapping it up so far. We've managed to take just over half of our original subscribers over onto the new bigger box, and then the rest they are getting kind of slowly drip feed marketed to physically and via email as well.
Very cool, very cool. So, is there anything you learned from this business that you're going to apply to your future businesses? Like something that just really worked well? Maybe it was this, or maybe there's something else that worked super well that you're going to take to your next business.
Yeah, absolutely. So sort of the thing that I was getting at right there about doing a more premium product and providing a higher value thing and getting customers to pay more for it. That's worked out really well for us. It's ended up with much happier customers as well. And also creating this online community, which we've got going, is just fantastic for customer retention, and being a subscription business, that's absolutely crucial.
Yeah, a subscription model, especially with the e-commerce model, is something at least I haven't seen very often. And it's definitely a super intriguing model. Did you try anything with this business that just didn't work, something that just failed?
Yeah, to be honest, I did start trying to market it via Amazon actually. So I was trying to kind of sell smaller boxes through Amazon to kind of, include flyers in there to entice people in. So people would buy things directly from Amazon, and then there'd be a flyer in the box advertising what we did, but that just didn't really take off, to be honest. So that's the only thing I'd say which has been not really worked.
At least it was a smaller thing, right? Just from the sounds of it.
Yeah.
So that's good.
No, absolutely.
As far as traffic and earnings, could you break it down where your traffic is coming from? Is it mainly search, organic, it's direct, is social? Are you running paid ads? Where are your customers coming from?
Yeah, so we do a certain amount of retargeting, which we just started doing in the last month or so via the Google Display Network. We also, as mentioned earlier on, feature quite heavily on, or lean quite heavily on our social media. So particularly Instagram, which our account's super mature at the moment and really, really good converting people into our lead generation, which I suppose you get more detail if you deposit. Also, we do cross promotion with other subscription boxes, which is really successful for us. So the way that works is we feature a flyer in our box for their service, and they feature a flyer in their box for our service with a slight discount. And then the reason that's converting so well is people who kind of understand subscription already and are subscribed to another subscription service are much more likely to convert and become customers.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. As far as earning type goes, could you break down kind of where, like, is it mainly all coming from this premium big box, or is it kind of spread out over multiple products? Where are the majority of your earnings coming from?
Yeah, so we've got two main subscription products. We've actually got more subscribers still on the old, what's now the Taster box. We've got more subscribers there, but we actually take a much bigger margin from our new bigger box. We do also have the web store, which is on a subdomain of the site based on Shopify, which we're just kind of starting to use to target our existing members on our email list to sell them kind of special products, maybe a fuller range from the suppliers that we feature.
So as far as earnings go with this website, I imagine that they're fairly stable with a subscription model, or do you find that they fluctuate?
No, I mean, they're steadily kind of increasing now. There was a big kind of upward turn when we introduced this new bigger box, but I mean, it's relatively predictable kind of upward turn at the moment. The shop kind of comes and goes, ebbs and flows, as I say, starting to focus a bit more attention on that recently, but I mean, that's a relatively new thing. The bulk of our earnings really do come from the subscription, and that's very kind of low maintenance in terms of process and shipments and that kind of thing. So that kind of be something up to the buyer to decide whether to push on further with the shop or whether to just focus more on subscription.
So let's pretend like you're not going to sell this business and you wanted to grow it. What would be the least risky path that you would focus on to grow this business?
So the thing that's really worked well for us, I think, as I mentioned earlier on, is doing flyer swaps with other boxes. So there are a few kind of potential joint venture partnerships going there, and also kind of social media joint ventures as well. So I mean, I think that's the least capital heavy kind of, and therefore kind of highest ROI way to grow. And I mean, to be honest, my impression, one of the biggest things that I've learned is focusing more on existing subscribers and getting them to kind of produce word of mouth amongst their friends. That's been really, really powerful for us, especially because of the niche of the product and the kind of without going into too much detail, it's a really big competitor for us.
And let's say you wanted to grow this business just insanely fast. You threw caution at the wind. What would you do to grow this business incredibly quickly?
So I think I'd say probably direct marketing via social media and stuff, which we have thrown quite a bit of money at in the past, hasn't really ever been as successful as I would have imagined. So I mean, in that respect, I think it would probably be kind of giveaways, pumping more people into our lead generation funnel, into our drip feed, which we do via MailChimp. I think really, getting people in at the top of the funnel there and then optimizing that funnel. But then, the majority of the capital will be spent in bringing people into that funnel rather than directly selling them to the site.
Sounds like you have a pretty robust email list. Is that true? Are you pretty heavy on email marketing to your list?
Yeah, relatively so. We tend to kind of trim it off after every few weeks, every few months when the people aren't opening. But at the moment, it's around about 1,500, 2,000.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's not bad. As far as risks go, speaking of risk, what do you think are the biggest risks that a buyer of this site should be aware of?
Biggest risks? I don't know. I mean, I think the main thing to bear in mind is just to kind of to maintain the kind of fun of the boxes, curating the boxes. So the biggest risk, I suppose, would be that they didn't get the right balance of products. But I mean, that's something which I'm quite happy to hand over. It's a relatively simple thing, to product A, to product B, and kind of getting that right balance. Because I mean, I think the main thing about subscription is making sure that the unboxing experience is really pleasing every time. So I suppose the only real risk there would be that you maybe created the box wrong, didn't provide enough value, but that's quite easy to kind of explain and document.
Yeah, that makes sense. As far as work required, can you describe the amount and type of work you do on the site? Are you selecting each of these items that are going out, or what exactly are you doing to grow the site and maintain it?
Yeah, so I mean, probably a maximum of 45 minutes to an hour a day. Then I'll spend on customer service and queuing up a few social media posts and that kind of thing. Maybe generating competitions and processing the odd order. Something which I've considered handing over to a virtual assistant or something, but it's not very much work at all. The main kind of body of work, which I'd say it probably takes me about a day each month just to kind of get absolutely right, is curating the box. But I mean, the actual products that we get, the manufacturers tend to come to us and sort of send samples, so we're always kind of getting pestered, sent samples. So, I mean, that's relatively easy in itself. Then it's just a case of negotiating with each supplier a good deal for them. A real kind of advantage of this is that because we're starting to grow now and we've got some real traction on social media, we're quite regularly seeing really good supplier wholesale discounts because it's in their best interest to kind of promote their product too. And then what we're doing there is doing competitions and giveaways which promote them, promote us at the same time. So there's some real kind of good cutbacks to be or savings to be made there with wholesale orders.
Very cool. What skills or requirements are there for someone who's not familiar with this niche? What would you suggest that they have already before buying a site like this?
I suppose a fairly basic grasp of back-end e-commerce tools is actually based on a platform called CrateJoy, which is very, very simple to use. All the front-end design is quite static. The blog is based on WordPress, but again, very, very simple to use. I would say, to be honest, it doesn't really take all that much other than a bit of common sense, to be able to curate the boxes properly.
And as far as wrapping it up a little bit here, for someone that does buy this business, would you be willing to sign a non-compete to let them know, like, hey, look, I'm not going to start this brand new website in the exact same niche the moment you buy this site from me?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm moving away into concentrate my effort on a different niche now anyway, so I'm absolutely happy to do that, yeah.
And what kind of support would you be offering your potential buyers?
So I can offer 2 hours of Skype conversation handover, and then reasonable email requests thereafter. 2 weeks of a fairly consistent email contact or Slack or Skype or whichever, and sort of reasonable requests thereafter.
Excellent. So obviously the best case scenario here is for someone to come in and buy your business outright at the listing price. Best for you, it's best for Empire Flippers. And because the site is underneath a certain threshold, it's likely that will be how it goes down. But let's say someone comes and they want to do a split or earn out. Would that be something you would be open to, where someone does like 70% up front, 30% on closing, or 60% up front and 40% over a few months based on hitting a couple goals? Is that something you'd at all be open to?
Yeah, it's definitely something I'd be happy to negotiate with you. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm quite keen to release that equity and also like into the new business, but it's definitely something I'd be happy to talk about.
Awesome. So I'm about to ask you the $1 million question, Dave. So hold on one sec, but I'm going to do a quick summary for the people out there listening to this. So the site was built in April 2015 as a revenue of $6,797 with expenses of $4,952 and a net profit of $1,846. Included with the sale is the domain, DNS, CreateJoy account, Shopify account, WordPress files and content from GoDaddy, as well as a social media profiles such as Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Google, and Pinterest. And of course, the free ebook lead generation that they're using with Instapage. Now, the $1 million question is, in the next 30 seconds, tell me your best pitch why someone should buy this site.
Okay, so this is in a really exciting kind of growth area. It's something which people are really starting to catch on to at the moment. Subscription is a really big growth thing, obviously, especially in the UK where we're based. It's really starting to take hold. And the actual niche itself is really starting to take traction as well. So, I mean, it's an exciting opportunity to get on board with it. A website that's already had a lot of work done on it. We've already matured the social channels. It's already got a nice big community, a member base, people who are ready to buy from you. So, I mean, it's a really nice place to start off for somebody to kind of develop their portfolio.
Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good pitch. The business is definitely interesting. I could see that there could be a pretty strong community around this item. So for those out there watching this on YouTube, if you want more information, the link below the video will take you to our marketplace listing. Now, if you're watching this actually on the marketplace listing and you want more information, just click on Become a Depositor today and you will be taken to the next step where you'll get all the information that you need to do your due diligence. So thank you so much for coming on, Dave. Appreciate it. And we will talk to you soon.
Thanks a lot, Greg. It's been a pleasure.